go.
Thank you, Beth. Matt Johnson coming up next in Bowling Green State. The Falcons, one of the highest scoring teams in FBS, take it on Georgia Southern, the team that runs the football more than anybody else, leading the FBS in rushing yards per game. So that's going to be an interesting contrast in styles coming up in the GoDaddy Bowl from Mobile. Chris Cotter, along with Joey Galloway and Todd McShay with you here for the next few minutes till we kick off down there from Mobile. 55-7, and the yardage discrepancy. This is the fifth largest blowout in bowl history when you talk about what Boise State was able to do, and it was from the start. I mean, Northern Illinois' only touchdown came on a kickoff return. This was a blowout from the beginning, Joey.
They did what good teams should do.
Or Todd.
Yeah, either
one, right? So
they did what a good team should do. They came out, they took advantage of some mistakes that Northern Illinois made. They got a lead, they threw the ball very effectively, and then when they got the lead, they ran the ball effectively. It was really a complete performance by Boise State.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot to say about this one. This is one that you just want to get over with.
Coach Carey wanted to get out of
there.
there.
Exactly. You want to get over there. You want to go. You want to reset. You want to take your team back. Sort of give them a hug, you know,
right,
after a loss like this, and just say, hey, look, let's focus on what's next. Let's get ready for, you know, whether it's winter or spring ball. Let's just focus on what's next and how we avoid getting in this situation again.
Go ahead.
A little surprising. Boise State kind of stumbled down the stretch this year. They were 3-3 in their last 6 regular season games. So the way they played, how dominant they were, this is a big boost for that program. Remember, they won the Fiesta Bowl a year ago. This is a down year. They had young quarterbacks, some inexperience, some injuries. They can really build on this heading into 2016.
You talk about young quarterbacks. Brett Rippon, the nephew of Mark Rippon, the former NFL quarterback, was outstanding in this game. Kind of lost in the shuffle because he was pulled early in the fourth quarter. But 29 of 40, 377 yards, 3 touchdowns, had the 1 pick late in the first half. But, Todd, what do you make of his performance today?
The thing that stood out to me is that he really got the ball out on time and threw accurately with the timing that you would expect to see from a junior or a senior. And so he gets it. He's not, you know, he's not 6'4", 6'5". He's not 220 pounds. He's going to need to get bigger and stronger. And as Joey pointed out, and he's absolutely correct earlier, that there are a lot of easy throws in this game because there are a lot of busts in the secondary of Northern Illinois. But at the end of the day, the throws that were difficult, he made effectively, and I was impressed.
And it's always good when a quarterback gets off to a fast start. You know, when in some of those easy throws, they build the confidence of a quarterback, and they get your offense rolling early in games. When I used to play with quarterbacks, you know, I used to always like to start off games or practices with an easy throw, a hitch.
To you.
You know, I thought that went without saying.
That's a great line right there.
That went without saying, of course, to me. But you can see a quarterback when he sees completions early in the game. You can see his confidence start to build, and not much resistance from Northern Illinois in this game, but once that confidence got rolling, the offense got rolling, they were outstanding on both sides.
Yeah, so Boise State with the big win in the Poinsettia Bowl. Now we move on to the GoDaddy Bowl down in Mobile, and it's Bowling Green State University and Matt Johnson, and they want to air it out. And a very interesting contrast in styles in this game because Georgia Southern, they run the option. They want to grind it out on the ground. So for a preview of this one, let's send it out to Mobile. Tom Hart and Andre Ware, guys.
In the history of Georgia Southern football, this is a first, their first ever bowl game, as the Eagles come to Mobile to match up with the MAC champions from Bowling Green. Falcons, no strangers to the postseason, playing in their 4th consecutive bowl game. Welcome, everybody. Tom Hart alongside Heisman winner Andre Ware. These are 2 teams being coached by interim coaches tonight. For Georgia Southern, Willie Fritz is off to Tulane. For Bowling Green, Dino Babers has taken the head job at Syracuse. But the imprints of those coaches in their system still very much at play, and what we'll have is a contrast in style.
Yeah, the foundations remain, and they were built all through the coaching tenures of both head coaches. But if you like old school versus new school, that's what you're going to get tonight. Georgia Southern, a triple option attack. They're very methodical in their approach, love to bleed the clock down, the play clock down, and then go about their business. They are capable, however, with Matt Breida, of hitting home runs. Then for Bowling Green, they're about as fast pace of offense as you get in the country. It's how many plays can you run in a game? Let's attack, get downhill, challenge you down the field. Old school versus new school.
It's the final game for senior Matt Johnson, the all-time single-season passing leader in MAC history. He's looking to get it going through the air tonight in soggy Mobile.
Thank you, Jem. I'm looking forward to seeing that. What do you make of this game as we talked about? It's one of the more interesting bowl games, I think, out there because you have such contrasting styles between these two teams.
I'm interested to see how for real Georgia Southern is. You know, probably the best performance we saw this year was, I think, a 6-point loss to Georgia. They don't have any real signature wins, if you will. So this would be a huge win if you look at what they've been able to do in their schedule this year. How do they do it? Grounding it out, as we just talked about, by slowing down the pace and keeping the ball away from Matt Johnson and that up-tempo offense for Bowling Green. It'll be interesting to see in the trenches, on the move with the offensive line, can they get those blocks, the cut blocks, down the field blocks, and effectively seal off these linebackers and defensive backs for Bowling Green.
And anytime you're playing an option team, and if you're Bowling Green and your defense and you don't see option teams very often, it can take some time in the game to sort of get used to, because it's so hard to get, you know, your practice squad in practice to be able to simulate what an option team will do. But if you're Bowling Green, it's all about putting points on the board. And we talk about Matt Johnson, his ability to run this offense at a high pace, high level, and give Roger Lewis some credit. The receiver leads FBS in receiving yards. A receiver out of Ohio, got to love those guys.
Got it.
But if you're Georgia Southern, you want to keep this offense on the sideline. And
right.
you do that by running the football, bleeding the clock, and just try to slow them down. Keep the game in the 20s or 30s, and you got a shot.
Here's something else that's interesting, too. When you take on an option team, your defense is oftentimes on the field a lot. You have a 12-play drive, 8 minutes off the clock, and then if Matt Johnson comes in, whoosh, scores a touchdown over the top, your defense comes right back out there on the field. That's going to be an interesting dynamic to watch here, too.
And I want to see how Georgia Southern tries to defend this offense, too. You know, are they going to back off and rush 3 and 4 and try to force Johnson to find some soft spots and force the receivers to create after the catch, or are they going to be aggressive and go after him and hope that they can maybe reroute the receivers and get some pressure on him? I think it'll be interesting early in this game to see how they're attacking and if they have any success early on, because, again, you got to get the ball back to your offense to slow things down.
About 12 minutes away from kickoff there. The GoDaddy Bowl in Mobile will get you out there right before kickoff. Until then, though, let's talk about the playoffs. Let's talk about the semifinals on New Year's Eve. It begins with the Capital One Orange Bowl. Let's talk about the quarterbacks involved in these two games, and we'll start with that Orange Bowl. Oklahoma and Clemson, two quarterbacks in Baker Mayfield and Deshaun Watson that can beat you with their arms, and also, maybe surprisingly to some, based on what we thought Baker Mayfield was at the beginning of this season, Todd, both these guys can beat you with their legs, too.
Yeah, Mayfield's a better runner than people probably gave him credit for, and I think Watson has developed into a better passer than he gets credit for. I've watched Mayfield, and he extends so many plays that initially break down, and I think that's a big reason why they're in position to have the success that they're having. And on the flip side, Watson learning to throw from inside the pocket, being more efficient with his reads, getting from read 1 to read 2 faster, and making tougher throws down the field has been a big reason for Clemson's success.
And Baker Mayfield not going to New York for the Heisman, he'll have a chip on his shoulder. Not just him, the entire team. When your leader, when your playmaker like Baker Mayfield doesn't get invited to the Heisman, and you see it with teams all the time when you're chanting for your guy and he doesn't get invited, as a team, you have a chip on your shoulder. They're going against a guy in Deshaun Watson who was invited.
Yeah.
So now they have something to prove as a team that they believe Baker Mayfield should have been there and is a better quarterback.
I watched Clemson against Boston College earlier in the year, and they would not go downfield. I mean, everything was underneath, running the ball with Gallman. Do you think Deshaun Watson has gotten more comfortable with his receivers? He lost Mike Williams early, still had Artavis Scott, but Ray and Kane and some of these other names really seem to have emerged in the second half of the year.
Yeah, and I think Deshaun Watson sort of, you mentioned his ability to throw the ball. And every time you think about these athletic quarterbacks, you think about their playmaking ability with their feet. Deshaun Watson is a quarterback that if they're able to keep him in the pocket, he can operate as well as anybody in the country because he's developed as a passer. When you talk to him, he takes a lot of pride in the fact that he is a good passer and can beat you with his arm.
And what I think the fact that they've opened up more, exactly what you're talking about, throwing the ball down the field with success, that just creates more lanes for the zone read option, for some of the inside throwing game, down the seams. They really, to me, this offense in the last few weeks, especially that North Carolina game, became what it wanted to be all season long. And a lot of it has to do with the development and comfort that we're seeing from Watson at quarterback.
Outstanding quarterbacks in the Goodyear Cotton Bowl, although different styles. When you talk about a Connor Cook from Michigan State and a Jay Coker for Alabama. And you look at their career records as starters. Remember, Coker did not start. The Alabama lost to Ole Miss earlier this year. And Connor Cook, I mean, Joey, what can you say about what he has done at Michigan State?
I love watching Connor Cook play, especially when he's healthy. Now, he was banged up at the end of the year, and this time off, these days of bowl practice, hopefully he gets healthy. Because when he's healthy, to me, he's the most NFL-ready quarterback out there. And you watch a guy and you want to talk about his timing, his ability to get back into a step, no hitch, get the ball out on time, reading defenses. He's as good as anybody in the country.
And I think if he's healthy, there's a huge difference in quarterback play. I think Michigan State has an enormous advantage because Connor Cook, we talked about it earlier, coming back this year, he went from a very good quarterback to a great college quarterback and a really good pro prospect because he's more consistent with his footwork, trusts where he's supposed to go at the top of his drop, the timing's there, and he can anticipate throws, and trusts that his receivers are going to go to the spots that they have to go to. And that's been the next level development for Cook this year. And to me, if he's healthy and he's going at 100%, that gives Michigan State a chance to knock off Alabama. But if he's anywhere close to what he was in that Big Ten championship game, it's going to be a long day.
Looking forward to both of those games. Looking forward to the nearest 6 games, obviously. I mean, a couple of really interesting matchups there. I kind of like Houston against Florida State. Want to see what Houston can do in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. But when you look at some of the other bowl games, specifically next week, we're going to have a ton of them here in Capital One Bowl Mania, Todd. What's the game you're looking forward to most in terms of the matchup?
I'm really looking forward to the Alamo Bowl. TCU versus Oregon. First of all, the quarterback matchup. Trevon Boykin playing in his last game. Same for Vernon Adams from Oregon. And we saw, as much as I like Boykin and the offense for TCU and what they did this year, we saw when Adams came back and got healthy and was playing at 100% late in the season, they were almost unstoppable. I mean, they knocked off 2 top 25 teams at the end of the year. Stanford is number 7 and 24 USC. So I think this is a great matchup between TCU and Oregon.
Josh Doxson not available for TCU in that game, so that's going to hurt because that's such a good weapon on the outside. What about you, Joey?
I like the Citrus Bowl. I like the matchup. I like the Big Ten SEC matchup. So much conversation about who's the best conference. The Big Ten made a statement this season with having 3 teams inside the top 10. But the job that Jim McElwain has done with this Florida team, winning the East and the SEC, this is going to be a low-scoring game. Great defenses on both sides of the ball. I've joked earlier that this game could end in a 2-1 score. It's going to be that tough on these offenses. But when you talk about Coach of the Year, McElwain's name and Jim Harbaugh, what these two coaches have done at these schools in their first year is absolutely amazing.
The Ohio State game notwithstanding, though, it seems like Michigan has ended this year on a little bit of a higher note than Florida. When you talk about the Florida Atlantic, they barely got by there, losing to Florida State, not looking very good in that game, losing to Alabama in the SEC Championship, and now all these players declaring for the NFL. It seems like McElwain now is this is an important game for him to kind of jumpstart his 2016, don't you think?
It really is, and what a challenge that these coaches have to deal with now with these guys declaring early. And Todd, you being here is great. What is the advantage of any one of these players, not just at Florida, but anywhere across the country? What's the advantage of announcing before your bowl game, except take away the focus of getting ready for a game?
It's selfish. It really is. It's selfish. And the other thing is, we have to make very clear. I don't know if anyone's gotten their advisory committee, the NFL advisory committee, information back on where they project, and that group does a great job. They're over 90% in terms of projecting whether a guy should be a first rounder, second rounder, or the third option that they give you back is go back to school. And so if you haven't gotten that information back and you're deciding to go, and you're deciding to go before your team plays its final game, not only is it selfish, it's not very smart. Because if you're not going to be a first or second round pick told by the advisory committee, why are you leaving? It doesn't make any sense. And the statistics on guys that leave early and have failure compared to guys that come back and get one more year of experience, it's mind-blowing. And I hope for all these guys that are making this decision, go do your own research because it's out there and you'll see how much better off you are if you come back for that final year.
Joey and I will be down there for the Buffalo Wild Wings Citrus Bowl in Orlando for the halftime show, so we're looking forward to that. You can see that game in every bowl game in Capital One Bowl Mania on the ESPN app. Download the app and you can stream these games. You don't even need that Watch ESPN app anymore. It's all under one umbrella. Just download the ESPN app. How about what we've got as far as the NBA goes on Christmas Day? If you're an NBA fan, and I know you are, it's going to start at noon. And how can you not watch that game between the Cavs and Golden State at 5 o'clock on ABC. Speaking of ABC, 2 o'clock, NBA Countdown gets you started. You're going to hear from the biggest stars on this day, and there are a lot of them, as you can see here on Christmas Day.
I know deep down my motivations, I know I haven't reached my potential.
Do I feel like doing this, yes or no?
It was sort of like a death, to be honest.
The pressure will continue to happen with me because of who I am and the position I've been put into.
We'd love to have that record and be remembered as that team.
I've chosen to use those darker moments to try to create something greater.
I don't care, what you say. Anybody says you're never too old for Christmas.
Yeah. All right, don't forget 2 o'clock, as I mentioned, NBA Countdown on ABC. It's presented by Straight Talk Wireless. And we have got a cavalcade of stars on Christmas Day, and you'll hear from all of them on ABC as we get set for a huge day of basketball on ESPN and ABC. We got a big game coming up here in 8 minutes' time. It's the GoDaddy Bowl in Mobile. Roger Lewis and the Falcons taking on the Eagles.
What are the glasses?
Opportunity has no slow season, no off days or downtime. Opportunity is everything you make of it. This winter, take advantage of our season's best offers on the latest generation of Cadillacs. The 2016 Cadillac SRX. Get this low mileage lease from around $339 per month or purchase with 0% APR financing.
AT&T knows the best kind of holiday is the kind where everyone gets what they wished for. Make this holiday extra happy when you buy one, get one free on our most popular smartphones. Like the Samsung Galaxy S6. Buy one, get one free. So spread some cheer and capture every minute of it. Right now at AT&T, buy one, get one free on our most popular smartphones.
In 1919, my ancestor Marcel Tolkowski invented the ideal cut diamond, unlocking the true beauty of the diamond.
Now Tolkowski Ideal Cut Diamonds are brought to you by Kay, the #1 jewelry store in America.
Every kiss begins with K.
Fact. When emergency room doctors choose an OTC pain reliever for their patient's muscle, back, and joint pain, the medicine in Advil is their #1 choice. Nothing is stronger on tough pain than Advil. Relief doesn't get any better than this. Advil.
No way. Savor breakfast anytime you like. Eggs, sizzling sausage, hot cakes, real butter. McDonald's all-day breakfast menu.
Invictus, fragrance for men by Paco Rabanne.
At Macy's, your fragrance destination.
Georgia Southern, not the only team that can churn it out on the ground. Travis Green had a career-high 183 yards in the MAC championship game for Bowling Green, so the Falcons look to air it out and get some yards on the ground coming up here in about 5 minutes' time. Joey, you had a big game with Boise State here in Bowl Mania. You've extended your lead.
Yeah, and I appreciate this. And take a snapshot of this because I've had trouble all season picking games, but I am in the lead.
What percentile are you? I think I'm 75%. I'm a slow start.
Joey's probably a little higher than that in the Capital One Bowl Mania.
But to get those numbers before half.
Looks like Bowling Green might be important, though, coming up here. You both love Bowling Green, not so much Falcons. Why? Why Bowling Green tonight?
Just the offense. They put points on the board. Georgia Southern's going to have to try to slow down Matt Johnson and Roger Lewis.
Resume to date, just who each team has played.
Should be fun to watch. Contrasting styles. Enjoy the first half, everyone. The three of us will see you at halftime. Send it out to Mobile.
Welcome to Capital One Bowl Mania.
Welcome to the GoDaddy Bowl as part of Capital One Bowl Mania. From Ladd Peebles Stadium in Mobile, Alabama. Tonight, the first ever bowl game for Georgia Southern, matching up with the MAC champs from Bowling Green. Welcome to Mobile, everybody. Tom Hart alongside Heisman winner Andre Ware. We get a clash of styles tonight, starting with Bowling Green. No matter how you measure it, one of the best offenses in college football.
Yeah, no doubt about it. They're fast-paced, they're explosive, they love to attack you offensively, and they put a lot of pressure on the defense. They will remind you of the Baylor Bears and how explosive they are at attacking down the field. You look at Matt Johnson, 4,700 yards this year, leading the FBS, 43 touchdown passes. That's good enough for second in the country. Then Roger Lewis, one of his main receivers. They've got a lot of them, over 1,400 yards receiving with 15 touchdown passes. Explosive players everywhere for Bowling Green.
So those guys can sling it. The guys from Georgia Southern can run it. One of the best rushing attacks in college football, led by a guy who has elite speed and Matt Breida in the backfield.
Yeah, if you like old school football, just a little bit of that mixed with a little new school, that's Georgia Southern, because they're going to come downhill at you, put pressure on you defensively. They will milk the clock in this football game to try to take some pressure off their defense, but they're good at what they do, leading the country in rushing yards per game, 47 rushing touchdowns this year. They do it between the tackles, and then they leverage you outside and get to the edges. And they do it as well as anybody in the country with their option attack.
It's spread